don't talk politics, religion, and sex and money.
Wow. I mean, I grew up in California, so, quote unquote, woke agenda state. It definitely was a little bit different. Black folks that some people, basically the other racial persuasion were starting to toss around. You want to think it's all fair, but it's not. Do facts matter in politics? Because it's almost at the point religion. It's like you can put up as many facts as you want about existence of God or not existence of God, but then people in the core bones will believe what they believe, no matter what you say. And vice versa with politics now, where it doesn't matter what facts you present to people, they'll find some alternative facts that may or may not be true. And so you just go with it. Kimmel, after a certain point, Trump administration's good graces because they're dealing with a $6.2 billion merger. FCC chair is talking about we can do this easy way or the hard way to get Kimmel off the air. Nick Star is going to take that as like, it's like the mafia movies where they're like, hey, you know what? I don't want anything to happen to Kimmel. No, nothing at all. This is Show versus Business, where pop culture meets pop money, with me, the real Theo Harvey.
And me, Mr. Benja.
Let's get right into it. We got a hot one today, son. We got the flames coming. The flames are coming because we're talking about, politics. No.
No. Hold on. We got to throw in some buzzwords. Immigration.
Oh, no.
We got to, let me see. Palestine, we got to kick off. Let's see.
MAGA.
Trans rights, we got to throw in there. What else? What else can tick people off?
Woke.
Charlie Kirk.
Woke agenda. Charlie Kirk.
Mm-hmm. Go woke, go broke. What else?
Mr. Benja, we try to avoid politics on this channel. We've talked about it. Obviously, it's undeniable things happen over the last since we've done this podcast. Election of Trump and other things has happened, but man, it's just seeping into our entertainment, man, where it's just like entertainment and politics are one and the same. It's getting too much, Mr. Benja. And I guess we're talking about today. What are your thoughts?
Hey, man, the show talks about it. The business talks about it. Now we're coming together. I think we were pioneering this. I think that's what I think. Don't nobody want to talk about the stuff we talk about. No, it's really interesting. If you want to know a little bit of the history of this, they always told you back in the day to never, what did they say? Don't talk politics, religion, and sex. And I think there was another one they always said, and money. You just in polite conversation, don't bring up politics, sex, religion, and money. You just because something always went wrong. And I didn't realize that until one time I grew up in a Southern Baptist school in North Florida, South Georgia area. Racial tensions were high, just in general. I didn't recognize it as a young kid, but when I was in school one time, I remember talking about what was it? It was something political that came up, and I remember this very country kid. Not that we weren't country, but this kid, always wore plaid shirts, and his dad was a hunter, and he was always talking about his guns. And every once in a while, he'd bring in, like, a bullet or something to school, and real talk. But they were a hunting family, so I was like, whatever. But I said something one time, and I remember this kid got up and went to his dad. It was after school. We were playing on the playground. Dad was just chilling, waiting while we played. Right, good dad, I guess. He went and told his dad, and his dad, like, put him in the car, went over to the coach, talked to him, and the coach came over and asked me, "Excuse me, Benjamin, what were you talking about?" And I was like, "Wait, what?" That's like my best friend. We were just talking about, and that was the beginning, man. Politics. It was something race related. I that's all I remember. I can't.
Wow. I mean, yeah, we have memories. I grew up in California, so quote unquote woke agenda state. So it definitely was a little bit different. But I do remember a time being in 7th grade and we were hanging out at some event, and I was really only the only black guy, and they had some jokes about black folks that some people were some people basically of the other racial persuasion were starting to toss around. And at first I was like, okay, that's cool. And then some of the girls and say, I don't know if that's cool or not. You should guys should be joking like that. I said, it's fine, it's fine. But then as they kept doing it, I started like getting a little bit more and more upset. And I was like, you know what, this is not cool. And I kind of walked away. But yeah, I had to be in seventh grade, even in California, a liberal state, realizing that this is something that is just not going away, man. You're perceived differently. And then I grew up at a time too in California. There were drive-by shootings. There were areas you didn't go to, Compton mostly in South Central LA, that you didn't drive by because there's a big gang epidemic, which was really driven by a lot of you know racial profiling and stuff. So it wasn't, and we had the riots, which was started by Rodney King and shooting of unarmed black men. So this was in the 90s. So it's like, people are like, oh, this is a recent thing with, Tamar Rice and all these other folks. No, this has been going around for decades, centuries. But anyway, so politics for me was always became more personal and real as I got older and started to realize, oh, I'm different. And the fact that I tended to be in in spaces that didn't promote a lot of folks that look like the black guys. Basically, I was the only black guy in a lot of my classes, and so it was weird.
Yeah, yeah. And and I brought that up because as I was saying, there's this whole series of things you don't talk about. Politics, race, sex, and I'm tired. I haven't been to sleep, by the way, so you might you might be able to get me to say some uncouth or untoward today because I haven't slept yet. I'll tell you why later. But yeah, there are the things you're not supposed to talk about. And I remember when we were coming up, Fox came out. Fox actually became a network. It was ABC, CBS, and NBC pretty much running things, and PBS, if you want to count that. And then all of a sudden, Fox came in with a different point of view, and people were like, whoa, that was only the tip of the iceberg. When CNN hit, CNN, and, 24-hour news, over, over. It was entertainment and media and the whole circus. And then you got the real world. It all just kind of kept rolling side by side and getting closer and closer together.
Yeah, yeah. And we kind of live in this quote unquote dystopian future where it's just like 24-hour news cycle. It always got to feed the beast. Something's got to happen every day, or if it doesn't, it didn't exist, right? And they'll find something, even if it's something minuscule. Oh, look what Trump did! Look at that tie he wore yesterday. Oh no, is he on the woke agenda? So it's just it's always something, man. And so to your point, we should have saw this coming when that our entertainment, which obviously is there to have a form of escape from the real world, is starting to seep with so much, allusion to politics. It's just becoming unavoidable now, man. And I think that's kind of one of the things that, I'm starting to see, I don't know, Mr. Bench. I mean, where do you want to start with this? I mean, we try to avoid it. I think the big thing we can maybe talk about, we kind of hinted at it last time
Yeah.
about the Jimmy Kimmel foolishness of it all. If you guys don't know, Jimmy Kimmel was quote unquote canceled or taken off the air because of some untoward remarks he made about the um and when you listen to the remarks, that they weren't that bad, but I could see why people could get somewhat upset. But it was real recent after Charlie Kirk's untimely demise, and
Yeah.
he said the person that did it was basically he was saying that the MAGA crowd was trying to characterize as this kid as anything but you know a MAGA person, right? And so, and that's all he said, that they were trying to characterize this bad actor as anything but a MAGA
Yeah.
person. And that little statement, doesn't seem like they didn't say he was a MAGA person. He just said they're just trying to characterize or trying to change the subject around who he was. And because of that statement, you had this big hubbub where the FCC chair got on on podcast talking about we can do this the easy way, we can do this the hard way, right? How they gonna get him off the air? And Trump weighed in, and you had the JD Vance, the VP, weigh in, and so Bob Iger, in his infinite wisdom, bow to the pressure of the distribution channels, who delivered clear all the distribution of the show. Said, take it off the air. So we got reruns of Steve Harvey and the
Yeah.
Family Feud showing in place of Jimmy Kimmel. And so it was crazy, man. It was crazy at that time. And people were like, this is the beginning of the end, and so much for free speech. And it was just a groundswell, man. It was just a bunch of folks obviously talking about, but in that, this is show versus business. I had a chance to kind of do some data deep dive, and shout out to Prof G. He talked about this. He said, well, what ended up happening was that ABC, run by Disney Corp, run by Bob Iger, said, you know what, yeah, we're going to take it off so we don't, risk the ire of Donald Trump. But they realized that, and I'm going to read this verbatim, said they discovered that a strong man, such as Donald Trump and his administration, wasn't as scary as a consumer boycott. One reporter put the number of Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN cancellations at 1.7 million subscribers in less than a week after Kimmel was kicked off the air. So, yeah. So yes, it was outcry on all sides. People were upset, but really drove. And so what ended up happening within that week, Jimmy Kimmel magically appeared back on the air. And so it goes back to money, politics, entertainment, and money. And the money spoke and got Kimmel back on the air because of 1.7 million subscriptions were getting canceled in less than a week for their streaming services.
Yeah. See, with the streaming services, they gotta you're in a fragile state because they don't have like a sign-on fee and a way to keep you there longer. So if anything goes wrong, it's like, are we still using Disney Plus? Who's watching that? Man, turn that off. Done. And it's gone. So it's like, hey, I was in the middle of watching. Okay, watch the last 2 episodes, then we're cutting it. Get out of there. Just
You know what that's called? And churn. That is detriment to any software-based business. If you have high churn, that means people are leaving. You're never going to grow because no matter how many times you get people, you just have a leaky bucket. How much water you pour in the top of the bucket, that hole is still there. It's going just as fast as you fill it. So yes, they were going to have a huge churn problem if this continued. And so people spoke with boycotts. And shout out to Scott Galloway. He yeah, and there were some other issues around this. Thanks for posting this as well, Mr. Benja. We'll talk about that in a second. But I think Scott Galloway talked about, remember the Montgomery Bus boycott, the civil rights movement, right? 70% of the Black populace in Montgomery rode the buses. So when they stopped riding the buses, that was a serious threat to the economic survivability of what was happening in Montgomery. And so when they stopped riding the buses, guess what? The politicians there in Montgomery had to listen because they were like, "Oh, our whole bus line would collapse, and that collapse, who knows what would else happen in the economy?" So
they didn't want to listen either.
no, they didn't, and tried to intimidate people and do all kinds of stuff to keep them riding the buses. But that goes to show you the power of in America. That is the best way to kind of move change. Scott Galloway argued that it's not just so much to do it on your own, but you have to make it very visible because we do live in a social. So that amplification of a boycott really makes movements happen. And so if you can kind of do something and be very visible, guys, I'm on Disney Plus. Look, I hit cancel. Here it is. It's canceled. See, you should do the same. And if that gets 1 million views and people are like, "You right, brother, keep fighting the fight." And I'm going to show my screenshot too. Even if it's not material effective enough, guess what? That's enough to get scared the business people.
You know what, man? While you're tripping, you never waste a good crisis. And it's like Netflix, Peacock. I remember seeing stuff from Paramount kind of sneaking in there, like, "Hey, Disney Plus isn't doing so well, but we have this, package, starting up our, holiday sales early. So get in now, 3 months with the $6.99 before it gets bumped up." And it's like, wow, okay, good
They
job,
did do
Paramount.
that. They did do that. You're right. It's hey man. business is a contact sport. Don't let nobody tell you otherwise, man. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. You want to think it's all fair, but it's
Yeah.
not. It's not. So people will attack.
At least on my Instagram feed, the Target boycott is funny as hell because every time somebody shows up, don't shop at Target again, don't do this, look at this crap they try to sell us, da 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 da. If you want real body butter, come to mybodybuttershop.com or da da da. And it's like,
Wow.
and you're like, black girl, you have nice skin. I will go check your body butter shop out. You know, it's just,
Woo! It is
but
funny,
that,
man.
but that's a way to make politics like work for you. You know, this instead of like, hey, I want this. It's like I clearly don't want that. Here's my option instead.
Yeah,
So
and
it's a lovely pivot.
it's a battleground sport, right? Using politics, and entertainment. Let's be honest, to maneuver. I mean, you remember that whole Peloton commercial that went viral, because the husband gave his wife a Peloton for Christmas, and then Ryan Reynolds seized on that opportunity by using the same actress to pivot away from that and saying, "Hey, you really want that bike for Christmas, or you want something else?" And so, and that remember we talked about this, Ryan Reynolds and his marketing company, right? And he leveraged the crisis of bad PR to his favor. And so, I think that's the world we live in. And especially with the power of AI now. Did you see the latest AI? We'll talk about AI more later, but I think it's apropos. Didn't OpenAI just release their first social media company? Did you see that? I think it's called Sora Media
Okay,
App.
the video thing, yeah. Well,
So you saw what
that's
they
the
were
thing
doing.
about
It's called Sora, launches Sora 2, right? AI
mhm.
social media app, which don't get me started. That's the beginning of the end of the world right there, man. But but basically you can create deep fakes like nobody's business. And so what was generated from that recently was all these videos of Sam Altman. Sam Altman's like, use my face, do what you want to it. And people just used it in all kinds of stuff. And so, I say all I have to say is like this is the world we live in, man, where people can react to something instantly. Now, with the fact of AI generated content and deep fakes, you can create something quickly. And like you said, don't take advantage of that attention. And really, it's about monetizing attention. Whoever can monetize attention the fastest, if you can either generate attention or you can monetize it, those are good skills. But if you can do both, chef's kiss.
So there was a recent AI generated, I want to say, news report that was used by a, I can't find it right now, but um, one of the political parties used somebody posted like, "Hey, here's a news report," and the news report was AI generated, and they didn't make it clear whether they knew that it was AI generated or not. And people were like starting to freak out, like this is the early stages of nobody knowing what the hell they're talking about, and we just fight because nobody knows what the hell they're talking about. And in fact, politics versus any political discussion, most people don't know what the hell they're talking about.
No, I agree. They'll come with facts, and really, do facts matter in politics? Because it's almost at the point religion. It's like you can put up as many facts as you want about the existence of God or not existence of God, but then people in the core bones will believe what they believe, no matter what you say. And vice versa with politics now, where it doesn't matter what facts you present to people, they'll find some alternative facts that may or may not be true. And so you just go with it.
You know what? I was actually caught up on that where when I heard the term alternative facts and it was explained, I was like, okay, yeah, alternative facts. And then I brought it up in a discussion and somebody was like laughing hard and be like, dude, what are alternative facts? The facts are the facts. I'm like, well, yeah, I mean they are, but there's an alternate set of facts. And it's like you can't just make up facts. Well, I'm like, oh, it was used this way to weaponize this style of thought and used this way to weaponize this style of thought.
Mhm.
I mean, because technically you can have an alternate set of facts, but the way this side says it, it's alternate reality.
Exactly. They open up or the data may be correct, but the way they're kind of presenting is a little bit different, right? Yes, correct. But you only surveyed 5 people. So it's like, is this statistical significance there? No, not really.
Well, I mean, it's like you know, they show 5 stats like man gets shot. You know, here's the stats here. Here's this. Therefore, conclusion. And someone else is like, wait a minute, this city actually has only 2 black people. So when you say 50% of the black people did a crime, and this one guy got hit for a ticket, it's only 2 people, and one of them was a parking ticket. What are you talking about?
Exactly, exactly. So it's all of a piece, man. But anyway, so I think that was the case with this whole Jimmy Kimmel shenanigans. But so that's the angle of the politics, just emerging out of entertainment. But what if there's politics inside the entertainment, Mr. Benja? And I had the experience of seeing that recently.
Before you unsubscribe from Disney Plus.
What do you mean?
No, I was for
Just
some
a
reason my head just jumped back to Star Wars because that was the last time I had a political entertainment discussion, uh, and we
yes.
were arguing about it. Something came up in Star Wars, and I was like, "Listen, if possible, try to tell your story without politics leading the story. Without." And it's like, dude, shows should have a message. I'm like, didn't say it shouldn't, man. But I'm just saying, make it work as a story, and dude.
And I think some people do that well. And some, to your point, are kind of like, bump the story. I'm just gonna make it work well. So I saw 2 cases of this recent. One a movie, one a TV show. There's a movie, one bad after another. We did a trailer breakdown of it. Do you remember what you said in the trailer breakdown of One Battle After Another with the Leonardo DiCaprio, Paul Thomas Anderson movie? I think you gave it good reviews. We both gave it entertaining
Yeah,
vibes
it's
when it came
entertaining.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh so I actually went to go see it last week, and yeah, good, man, very good. More
Oh,
political than
okay,
I thought it would be.
okay.
Very political. I was shocked by how political this was. And it's so when I say shocked by it, it was just like they went there in places. This is basically a movie about white supremacy, right, and how to fight
Hmm.
back against it. And they went there, and this is a Leonardo DiCaprio type movie, and he does his Leonardo DiCaprio thing. Where you ever watch any of his movies recently? I don't know if you watched Wolf of Wall Street, where there's that scene when he's on Quaaludes
Yeah,
and he's like barely walking and trying to get from one
yeah,
place to the other. He That's just his thing now. I mean, he's getting old. He's 50 now. So every actor as they get older, they get these little the ticks they got put in a movie. He
yeah.
does that here. So this is about a serious topic, white supremacy, fighting back against the man, and all that kind of stuff. They profiled 3 black women prominently in the trailer and in the movie, and here Leonardo DiCaprio still doing his thing, man. It's just like, okay, we're doing this. But anyway, so I thought it was interesting, man, to kind of see such a high act auteur. And you ever watch Boogie Nights or There Will Be Blood? The same guy, right? And so, but tackling such a high topic. I mean, those other movies are more like character studies. This is a character study, but is attacking, white supremacy, right? And so it's very interesting, man. So anyway, I thought that was kind of interesting to kind of be immersed in that environment for a movie. And not really preach to you. Didn't really preach to you, but there's those elements there.
Yeah. And you know what? It's weird because even with music and stuff, it's like everybody has different tolerances and different levels of, I mean, different tastes, different tolerances, different things that they get, quote unquote, triggered by. Um, I remember Jay Z said something, and w- a group of people were discussing. I was with some art people, and there was an older art person there, with quite a few of them actually. But we were discussing it, and Jay Z came up. I was like, "Yeah, he did a thing, and da da da." He was talking about this and that, and then suddenly one of the older art guys like, "Jay Z, why is he talking about anything? He should just shut up and make people dance." Ha ha ha! And starts laughing, and everyone got quiet and looked at him like, "Yo." did your left wing racism just come out? What was that? You know, it was just kind of this look, and he was like, oh, oh, I thought we listened to hip hop for dancing and being happy. What, you know, I don't know, but so everybody has their own little tolerances, man, and I don't know if I can deal with all of it now. Like I just don't want to watch anything,
Mm. Well, I mean, I think it's
and I'm political.
I mean, I like, having thoughtful conversations. I like the art to speak to me, even if it is a little bit more politically minded. Or, well, when we say politically minded, I think every piece of art has an agenda. Let's not keep it, in my opinion. I don't know if you believe that, but I believe
All art is political.
yeah, I think so because to have that much, you have to be very intentional to want to create art, and every decision you make, there's a reason for it. And so based on that intentionality, there's a politics behind it. There's a ethos, there's uh a way of living, a philosophy, and that philosophy is politics. Let's be honest. It's
Yeah, and to that term, you can look that term up. People have argued it before. All art is political. The reason that that statement makes sense is because even if there isn't a political statement in it, then the point of it not having a political statement
no.
is political in itself.
So yeah.
Because someone says, "Hey, I just want to get away from politics." That's political. Done.
Yeah.
You know.
So anyway, so I think you can't escape it, in my opinion, and I think that you can just interact with it, and if it gives a reaction, I think that's more telling about you than the art.
Hmm.
So there's pieces of art that I've seen that gave me a visual reaction. I mean, I was like, man, I've cried on a book before, right? I said I cried on a song before. I said I've never cried when I saw a piece of art, and I finally had that experience. I saw this art. Is about the middle passage, and it was amazing piece
Ooh,
of art
yeah.
where they had the planks that looked like waves, and they showed like the when it was cresting like a wave would, it had like red, like instead of white foam, it was like red, like the
Hmm.
blood. And so
Yeah.
and I saw that piece, and it was a very visceral reaction, and I said, oh, I'm having an emotional reaction to this piece of art. And I was like, that's what I wanted.
Yeah.
And so I think when you think about, art is really supposed to help you see who, obviously talk about our society and stuff, but also, look at yourself and why are you having a visceral reaction or no reaction at all? Like, I don't care
Yeah.
about this. I could watch back in the day before I had kids, I could watch all kinds of movies. I could care less. So like, oh yeah, people get killed. Excuse my language. Oh, we don't get
Uh-oh.
blast.
Uh,
James, go
uh,
edit that, James.
uh, uh.
But I could care less. Kid got kidnapped or whatever, and it's just like, but now that I had kids, I'm like, oh, I can't watch that stuff anymore, So it's like I just had that visceral reaction to things. So anyway, I think that's kind of how I look at art, and how that could move forward. And the other piece of art that I saw recently was James Gunn's Peacemaker, the TV show that keeps on giving.
Well, there are different levels of art, apparently.
Yes. You know what, man? I blast James Gunn two podcasts ago. I
Yeah.
think I'm with it, man. He is everywhere, man. This dude is blasting the zone on all levels, from how many people he brings into his ecosystem that work with him, family members he brings into, how much he writes everything from the DC
Hmm.
universe to podcasts he's on and interviews he does. It's just he is flooding the zone. So I digress to say that because recently he had an episode of Peacemaker that kind of got a little buzz. The
Hmm.
fact that they've been dealing with this, and spoiler alert, if you don't know, please change the channel, do something else. But we're gonna go into spoilers for Peacemaker, episode I think 6 and 7. So if you haven't seen it, basically the whole premise of Peacemaker this season is going into the multiverse, right? They get the chance to kind of travel to different dimensions and do different things. And they teased it last season as well. And then if you saw
Yeah.
Superman, there was this whole story about entering this pocket universe. So James Gunn is going with it, right? He created it.
Well, they
in
did a
Peacemaker.
little of that in Peacemaker 1, so
Well,
that's
that's
not
why I
yeah.
said, yeah, it was in Peacemaker 1. It was basically a plot point, a huge plot point in Superman. And now this is so James Gunn set the seeds, years ago with this, and so now he went all in. And in his multi universe, there was a world where another version of Peacemaker exists, and so Peacemaker thought that was our Peacemaker from Earth One, if you will, thought this new Earth was a better world for him because he was considered more of a hero and all this stuff. Come to find out, the world that he thought was the best for him turned out to be Earth X. Now, if you know your your DC universes, Earth X is the world where the Nazis won World War II, and so this is a, they had a whole episode where they discovered that they are in Nazi world, if you will, and basically they had one person of color, black lady that's part of their group. Her name is Adebayo. She's actually in the story, she's Amanda Waller's daughter. So it's kind of interesting. But anyway, she shows up in this world, and then basically a mob of white folks see her, and they said one got out, and they're chasing her down.
One got out.
Yes, and they're chasing her down empty street in suburbs, and needless to say, she gets away and all that. But to see something so viscerally charged in a James Gunn type movie was a little disheartening. And so now James Gunn is out here, doing all the interviews, talking about it, and you know, and he said he lives in Atlanta now. I didn't know that, but he's talking about being diverse. But he said being growing up in St. Louis, he didn't really, he lived in certain areas. So now he's getting to the whole racial aspect now because that's in his storytelling. And I was just like, I don't know if I'm there for that, man. I I don't know if I'm there for him talking about politics and racial identity in Peacemaker, a show where they had literally a orgy and other stuff going on
I
and,
better not.
and
I better not see.
shenanigans.
I better not see James Gunn in Magic City, boy. Magic City.
Look it up. You don't know what that is, guys. Go look it up.
Oh Lord.
So anyway, yeah, man. I don't know. It's so seeing that where we're in this world. And look, they didn't really explore the world. I mean, literally, there's nobody wearing insignias. I mean, there's insignias, but there's nobody, marching around, or doing anything that's overtly, but it's just the whole malaise. And they kind of kept it very centralized before they left that world. So now I'm hearing criticism on both sides. Criticisms that he went there, and then criticisms that he didn't go far enough. So it's just like, what can you do in your storytelling? So politics, man. It's in our entertainment too.
Yeah, it's like when the boys started. The boys.
That's the other one.
The show when it started getting too literal. I think that's my problem with it. When
Yeah.
it starts to get too literal, it turns into a after school program to me. And I'm trying to think, what is this just how it ends up being right now? Is this totally a perspective thing? Because I'm thinking about music I used to listen to, X Clan, Boogie Down Productions, KRS One,
Yeah.
and it's like,
Very political at the time.
did that sound too political to people, and they just didn't want to hear it because it's, I don't know, but that was the point of that music for me.
Mhm.
Public Enemy, that was the point of it. Um, Ice Cube, that was the point of a lot of that. I don't know. I guess I'm turning old, and I
Crotchety.
no, I'm one of those chill old dudes now who just kind of lets people do whatever. If I get crotchety on something, you'll know.
Yeah, me too, Mr. B. I was thinking that just like, man, I just don't get worked up as much. Like, I mean, I don't think I ever did. That's just never been my personality. I'm more of a practical person. Yes, I want to fight the good fight, but I got to see a path to victory here. It's like when you get to a point where there's like this is a battle that's been waged for like hundreds of years. It's a young person's battle because they're the ones that have to believe that they could win. But I'm been old enough and been seeing things enough where I think it's more of a cycle, right? I mean, literally when George Floyd happened with George Floyd in 2020, I knew in my heart of hearts, I said, this ain't gonna last. I mean, I hate to say it, but it was true. And I was like, this is opportunity. So if a lot of black folks take advantage of the opportunity, like I told you stories. I have a business. Literally, people from Nike, these big time corporations reached out to me personally. Hey, how can I help you in your business? What can I do? They had lists of white allies that want to help black folks. It was crazy, Mr. Benja. I remember it was in June. It was like crazy. Remember they had a whole blackout. Yeah, I don't know. Did you ever get reached out? Just someone tap you on the shoulder during that time, or just like, hey, Mr. Benja, can I help you?
Uh, I got hit on by this girl, and halfway through the halfway through hitting on me, I'm like, "What's going on?" And she says, "Yeah, I understand the black struggle." And I was like, "Oh." And I haven't had that since I had cornrows and a different look.
That is
And
hilarious.
the
That's
the the
hilarious.
the Tupac listening ladies would pay me mine, but I was just like, "Oh, interesting."
Crazy
Man,
times.
it's like I still will go in and but people get surprised, man. They're like, "Yeah, I just think that this and that," and then they kind of look over at you and see if you have a reaction, and then they get a little deeper into it, and then before you know it, this dude over here telling me, "Yeah, and my grandmother, she used to call me the N word all the time," and this is a white guy. "My grandmother used to call me the N word all the time. She said you just like a little, and I remember that." I'm like listening to him, like you know, and then I broke down some racial history, and then they're like, "Oh, he's one of those blacks. He knows."
Mm-hmm. You do you know that influencer Drewski? You ever seen him?
Drewski, yeah,
He's got he did a couple of ones where he showed up as a white boy. One was a white boy that grew up around black folks. That's hilarious. And he had did one where he was a white guy just at a NASCAR and he dressed
yes,
up in the white. It was hilarious, man. What you doing here,
yeah.
boy? He spit. You remember that? It's just hilarious, man.
That's what comedy should do.
Exactly. It makes you laugh and just gets you, look, laughing at our issues.
That's the point. A lot of the point of comedy is so people can talk about these issues. A lot of the point of art is so that you have a common ground where you can start bridging and expressing this stuff. And without it, when you start pulling it off the air, when you start, really trying to censor it too much, that's a bad sign, just in general. Like, I don't like a lot of stuff that Rogan, Theo Von, what's that guy's name? Andrew Schultz, like when Kobe Bryant died, he started going in on him after his death.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
I didn't like it, but I'm like, you know what? That's your comedic thing, maybe. It's probably exposing a lot of your internal issues, but whatever, guy. We're not pulling you off the air for it. Um, but now, come on, Jimmy Kimmel. Oh wait, there's more with Jimmy Kimmel though. That wasn't a straight up and down thing though, was it? There was some money involved, right?
Oh yeah, I mean we talked about the cancellations, but I mean so Nexstar, which basically is a company that distributes, they have all the local affiliates, the stations that actually put on. It's like a distribution channel, right? It's the stations that actually put on Kimmel after a certain point. Yeah, they are trying to be in Trump's or the Trump administration's good graces because they're dealing with a $6.2 billion merger. So if the FCC is saying Jimmy Kimmel needs to get off the air, why wouldn't they? Because FCC ultimately approves mergers like this. So if the FCC chair is talking about we can do this the easy way or the hard way to get Kim off the air, Nexstar is going to take that as like it's like the mafia movies where they're like, "Hey, you know what? I don't want anything to happen to Kimmel. No, nothing at all." That's what the boss says to the guys in the
Yeah,
room, and everybody's like, "Okay,
yeah.
we got
He
it."
doesn't say anything, but he's saying something.
Yeah, when he says, "I don't want nothing to happen," he's a good guy. Don't do nothing to him.
Hey, you know what? And the reason I had to bring that back is because the more I see this system play out, where it's like political, social, it's all this weird power, this weird power money game that's going on. You know what I mean?
I agree. And I think, we kind of talked about the beginning of this pod, but you said a rapper said this, maybe you know the exact verse, but you just gotta get big, man. I mean, capitalism begs to get as huge as possible. And huge means financially, it could mean bigger muscles. Shout out Hermosi. It could mean, bigger brands. It's just it because that then if you're on that level, they don't F with you, right? Because you're just too big to fail. We know we learned that from when we dealt with the credit crisis, right? Several years ago. So
Yeah,
I think you got to be too big to fail, and that's the mythos of Americana, right? You have to get huge, and that's the only way you're going to survive the whole politics of it all, right? Because it does feel
yeah,
like you have more leverage if you're bigger. I mean, and that's one of the things you talked about the boys as entertainment. Yes, it's very political and all that, but they said the superpower of the super soups, that's what they call them in the show, is not that they have they can fly and do all this stuff. Their superpower is really how popular they are. They can have crappy powers, but if they're super popular,
yeah,
no one can touch them, even Homelander. And it's like that's why so it's kind of amazing how they translate that into you
yeah.
know
That's a good angle on this story.
yeah.
That's what I like
So it's
about it.
like power is not so much what you can do physically; it's about your influence and who is observing you. If you have a lot of influence, that's why Joe Rogan is who Joe Rogan is. I mean, he's a mid. Let's be honest, he was a middling host of Fear Factor, a middling TV guy on what was that? Just Shoot Me. I think that was a show he was on, and he was a middling comedian, not the greatest comedian of all time, but he's the number one podcaster.
Yeah, yeah. Should I start getting political?
Hey man, do what's in your heart, brother. Do what's in your heart, son. Hey, real quick before we finish out here a little bit, AI world, man. Talking about politics. Did you see this
Oh
latest? Oh, you had something?
no, I found the link that I was looking for earlier. No, Trump has been posting AI slop,
Oh yeah.
and what's weird is that people are reposting it as if it's political. Dude is just. I mean, this is. I'm not saying anything. Well, actually, I am, but uh, it's just really interesting. This guy, I don't think it's like scientifically and you know really pinpoint thinking type of strategic kind of thinking. I think he's just a natural at what he is. Whatever he is, I think it's just natural. Like
You can't say whatever he is. You got to define what is he? What is that piece of that makes Trump
okay,
Trump? I would just say,
like
go
I'm
ahead.
saying, okay, like as contrast, Musk, Elon Musk, calculating.
Is
Trump,
he though?
just kind of devious in who he is. I
Devious.
think I think in more so that's the sides I would put him on. This guy's calculating, sits down and really thinks about it. The other guy is more like, I don't like him.
Hmm.
I think they
Yeah.
both, whatever. But
I think Trump has just gotten away with so much for all his life and just like feels like the world owes it to him and do whatever he wants to do. And so, he'll just and keep chaos going to keep his enemies, you know, confused. I mean, he learned. I mean, you got to watch the movie The Apprentice if you want to really know what Trump is about. There's a movie called The Apprentice. It was the guy,
oh yeah, yeah, that one.
yeah, who played Bucky Barnes and Captain America. He plays Trump. Great job, by the way.
Hmm.
Sebastian Stan, great job. He plays him young and he plays him old, and he talked about Roy Coyne and how Roy Coyne taught him the maneuver. It was hard. We talked about corporate America. Business is a battle sport. Cohen played at the utmost levels, highfalutin fighting style. Don't ever say you're sorry, sue. So all those base levels. That movie
Yeah,
kind of revealed kind of the Trumpness of it all. So anyway, Mr. Benja, yeah, I think we politics guys. Look, we don't talk about politics on this pod, but we will talk about it as it seeps into our entertainment. And look, don't add us, but it is what it is. This is what we have to talk about because this is what everybody else is talking about right now.
You know what's
Eh,
terrible, man? They messed up the word woke. Sorry.
yeah. Yeah, well, this it's okay. They do that all the time. They try to, and that goes shows you, man, words have power because words determine how you think. So it's like there was this term microaggressions. I never, it finally gave a understanding of the things I felt all my life. Where it's like little things that people would do as a person of color, right? If you will, a black person, that a white person would do to you, and you never had words for it until they finally came up with a word called microaggression. I was like,
Yeah.
there it is. And so words are power, man. So when they feel like they can take words back, that definitely it was a start of the downfall, right? But look, man, this is cyclical. Like I was telling you before, George Floyd came, left. We're in this other cycle now. This too will pass, and then we're going to be in another cycle. And so we lived long enough where we know these things are cyclical.
Well, is a cycle, a vicious cycle or a virtuous cycle? We spiraling down the
Well,
drain, or we
I'm
spinning
I'm
up?
I'm more positive. I'm more positive. What did Martin Luther King say? He said the moral arc of the universe is long, but it bends upright, or something along those lines. I gotta look at the exact quote, but he said, eventually, it would go upward and to the positive direction, even though it may not seem that way, right? In the micro. So I do feel like, it will uptick even more because I do feel there's been strides and, for black folks and other people of color over time with no new language and stuff. He said the moral arc of the universe is long, but it tends to bend upright. And so I think that is the path I believe.
No, that's a good thing. We talked last week about flattening, about everything kind of flattening, and I'm wondering now with the way society is and looking at everything, like something comes out and it's so fast and all the media, the information, the data, these microtransactions, microaggressions, you know, short form video. I think it's making it harder and harder to see far, and you really need to step back and meditate and jot down your thoughts.
That too. Yeah, Jot thought. Jot. Yeah, I love it. I love it. Yes, son. That's how you do it. If you didn't know what he did, guys, we'll tell you later. Um so yeah, man. I definitely think and books, give you perspective, right? If you kind of read history and kind of look at,
Mhm,
and sometimes I'm amazed by how much stuff has already happened like this in certain areas. And he's like, oh, wow, this happened before. So it's not
mhm.
like this is different because human nature doesn't change. Yes, the tools change, but the human nature doesn't. And so it's going to be interesting to see what happens over the next couple of years. Now, people are arguing, and I'll get to my point here. AI could change human nature enough where we may be fundamentally broken. And one of the things that came out this past week was this AI actress. You heard about this shenanigans, man? This Tilly Norwood that was out here in these streets trying to get a job, and
The
people
software program making more money than me.
Tilly Norwood out here, man. She's in these streets, brother. She don't sleep. She is grinding, man, trying to get this money. Everybody wants to interview her. She's trying to get a publicist. She out here in these
This is weird.
streets.
So break it down. There's this AI actress who's like, how are they? And she's got an agency. She signed a deal. How's this working? Because it's not like an avatar on your computer. What is it exactly?
Good point. From what I understand, she is a AI generated avatar, right? That kind of made her interest at a Zurich Film Festival last weekend, and basically she's only been in like 1 2 minute comedy sketch, and basically shows up on all your feeds talking about that she wants to be an actress and all the things she's trying to do, and other actors and actor community are up in arms because they're like, this is not right. This is a generated software code, right? That's potentially looking to take our jobs. And also, I think some people are saying she looks a lot like Scarlett Johansson and Natalie Portman mixed together. So was she generated using their images without their permission? So there's this whole creation angle that, and Scarlett Johansson out here in these streets anyway. They already took her voice, and she was a poster child for a movie about AI called Her years ago that now is starting to come to fruition. So she's almost becoming the what's it called? The resistance because of this. So they people are looking at her as like, show us the way, Scarjo. So she's out here talking about it, and then all these other actors and actresses is like, look, she shouldn't get representation. This is software code. So it's gonna be interesting. I think this is just a how there's some upgrades when there's like too much of a push towards something that maybe people aren't ready for. There's a lot of pushback. It'll go back underground, but I guarantee we'll see this again.
I'm not mad at it at all.
Oh, you're here for it.
I thought about it a little while, and I'm not mad at it. In general, people are going to have their actors that they like and they don't like. But as I said, one reason I'm on the side of the story is because I think a lot of the other stuff, the celebrity of it all, the actors, and, shout out to them and props for building an industry and creating the emotion to get us here to this point. But a lot of times I'm looking for a story, and if in the middle of the story somebody nudges me and says, "Hey, didn't he get hit for a drug charge last year?" And I'm like, what does that have to do with the sci-fi movie I'm watching? You took me out of the story to tell me that. Now I'm thinking about, looking up, going to freaking newsweek.com or whatever BS. And it's just, it always pulled me away from it. And it's actually one thing I don't like about reaction videos. Like when you're watching a reaction and somebody starts talking about the actor's history, and I'm like, you're not talking about the story. Get back to
Damn,
the story.
Mr. Benches. I actually like the
So,
story. I like the story, because it gives more, I like the story within the story. Matter of fact, I've been watching
the
this
story of the
YouTube.
actors, you mean?
No, just the story behind the story of everything. Yes, there's a story of the
Oh, yeah,
the
okay, sure.
movie. There's
Hmm.
a story of the how the director made the movie. The story of how the actor got the job. I mean, I'm
Oh,
there for all the stories, man. And this story of the
I
actor. This story of the
yeah.
actor. I love that part
So
too.
I like it, but what frustrates me is that when people are watching a movie, they'll stop and they'll say, "Oh, isn't that such and such from that other movie?" Doesn't that take you out of the story you're watching for a second?
Well, I'm a different beast. I mean, kind
Yeah,
of
you
cat,
are. That's
because
why I'm asking.
I'm like, where's he from? So it's gonna bother me, and I'll go do a IMDb lookup or find out where that guy's from.
Hmm.
So that's just me. But I hear your point. I mean, look, there's a channel I put my family on. I was trying to find it, and
Hmm.
it kind of got me hyped up because it was one of those channels where you get to watch, and trying to find it. Yeah, what's his name? His name is shout out to Justified by Jury. Justified by Jury. And he does all our famous songs like I'm So Into You and some other songs that we grew up in the 90s scrubs. He goes into the history of like where the sample came from, how the new song came about, who sang it
Yeah,
originally. And I was like, I'm there for it, man. I was like,
that
dang.
is that is wonderful stuff. And you know what? To the point, that is part of the art, and that is part of the politics of it all. Um, what show was it where they had this older black guy, and just his very presence was like, "Oh, this was the guy from such and such." And when he showed up in the movie, I was kind of like taken aback, like, okay, there was that artistic flair of a choice, and all the emotions I had from that other movie came into this one at the right moment, and it totally did an artistic switch that I didn't expect. And I totally respected it at that moment. But usually it's kind of goofy to me in the middle of the movie.
AI actors out here in these streets, man, they deserve a job. I agree with you, Mr. Benja. I mean,
Really?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I think let's see what happens to the industry. It needs to be shaken up a little bit, and so and can if good art can come out anywhere. So if they can kind of make this a case, then Yeah, man. I think we're going to see a new version. So, for instance, and I'll leave it at that. Uh, so we talked about Leonardo DiCaprio is probably one of the last genuine movie stars, right? He's still hanging on. So he got a new movie coming out. They did this big puff piece on Variety about like he's 50, but he's got a 32-year-old attitude, and these puff pieces we used to read in the 90s about actors and actresses, right? It's
Yeah.
like people still doing this, and it's like, I'm not there for that because that's manufactured. It's not authentic. And so if we're gonna give me that, then give me the AI actors, because let's be all fake. If we're gonna be fake about Leonardo DiCaprio, because let's be honest, we don't know nothing. Leonardo DiCaprio has been in our lives. He's the same age as me. As long as I've been alive, or roughly since high school, I've known about Leonardo DiCaprio, but I don't know nothing about him. I don't know, was he ever married? Does he have kids? I mean, so it's like he might as well be an AI bot at this point. Why not? So it's just like, dude, if we're gonna go that route with these fakeness, give me something that I know is fake, and then so it becomes, in fact, authentic once you know it's fake, right? Because now you're like, oh, I already know it's fake, so it's like I trust it now. So it's weird, man. Now, granted, the influencers and people who are out there doing more authentic things, who become actors and actresses, fine. Maybe they're more authentic and more showing and sharing of themselves. Then I like that too. But don't give me that mid fake, mid real thing, right? I want to see. Now, Leonardo's probably where you're coming from, where he's like, look, I don't want to tell about myself because it takes the mystery away from the story. So if you don't know anything about me, I tell you some BS about like I'm 50 years old, but I feel like I'm 32. I'm taking some tea and sitting on the mountain somewhere. That tells you nothing about him, but you go into the movie and you just feel about that character, then he's did his job, according to what you're saying, right?
For the most part, I mean, as I said, there's parts of it I like and parts of it I don't. I just when I'm in the zone, I want to be in the zone usually, and unless if you come with some goofy stuff that takes me out of the zone in a dumb way, then I'm just mad at you. I want to turn it off.
Anyway, Mr. Benjamin, this has been a great pod. I mean, we went into politics, talked a little bit about AI, but Mr. Benja, I think we need to stop because I don't want us to get kicked out. So, Mr. Benja, what you got going on this week, man?
So the reason I was up all night and didn't get sleep is because I finally hit 100%. I made a list of errors that I had to fix in the book, and there were 375 of them. And last night I was on 367, and this morning I'm at 100% complete,
Yes.
error free. I only have 2 paragraphs to reinsert because there were missing bits, but 2 little paragraphs I have to add in. We're fundamentally done with the book. Um, I've got my marketing books here now. I can start flipping fully into marketing mode. I'm done. The headache I had went away. Job booking is coming out. I'm so happy.
Oh man, congratulations, man. Woo.
I'm
Yeah, man. I
sorry.
can't.
Sorry, I strung you along. Like, no, it'll be out. And I pulled the Rockstar Games, man. I pulled a GTA 6 with this one.
Hey man, I'm sure the extra time is gonna be worth it. So yeah, man, get out there and pump it now, man. You in these streets, boy. You gotta shake some tail now to get this book sold. Gotta get in these streets, man. Get some books, baby gotta sell some books, man. So I need to see y'all here like Hermosi, man.
I'm gonna do the Obama dance,
Yeah, dude.
and I'm gonna do the Trump dance.
Get them all. Put them all in there, man. I'm ready for it. Love it, love it, love it, man. Well, can't wait to see it coming out, man. Yeah, man. We
Too.
have a team meeting coming up here next week. I'll have some super excited to see my team. I have a remote team all over the country, and so we're all getting together in Atlanta, getting together and hanging
Oh,
out.
okay.
So it'll be good to see folks again. It's been about 2 years since we all saw each other in person. So we got some new team members. So yeah, it's gonna be cool, man. We'll be out there hanging out. It's weird, man. When you're the leader and you still want to hang out. You got like, well, sure, let's hang out a little bit, but you still gotta maintain that leadership role. So it's kind of like you can't get on these streets, be like, hey, let's do it. So it should be fun though. I
I
enjoy
got I
the
gotta tell
people
you
I
some, I gotta
hire.
tell you some rock. I gotta tell you some video game leadership stories.
Oh no, you don't have to tell me.
Off air.
Yeah, off air. I'm sure. I've seen the same amount as Cisco. It's probably the same stories, man. So, but it's not that serious for me. I'm just like, enjoy the team and just, once they get inspired to, enjoy working with us, but also help me as a leader. So super excited about that next week. Hey guys, this has been a great podcast as usual. Mr. Benj and I love doing these. We definitely want to keep these going. So look, if you like what you're hearing, please like, subscribe, and comment at Show vs. Business on X, Threads, YouTube, and Instagram. Listen to us at Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And then if you want to check out more about us, go check out our website at Show vs. Business. Mr. Benja, have a good one.
Peace.